And we're back. There we go. Thank you so much for joining us on Twitter. We really appreciate it here for After the Beat, where we take your questions, and my eyesight is revealed to be that of an 80-year-old geriatric. All right, let's go first. This question was, they used the wrong hashtag. Perfect. Who is your dark horse pick to become a champion in 2018? Jeff?
Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, my God. Can we please quit talking about this douchebag? Please, God.
Senior.
Yes,
Let me clarify. Man.
Dark horse pick. Not leading contender. Dark horse pick.
Dark horse pick to be a champion. I'm going to go Valentina Shevchenko at 125.
Okay. Not much of a dark horse.
Not much of a dark horse.
But
she's not even declared herself there yet, so I guess I'll if I think of somebody better, I'll...
All right. Chuck, any dark horses?
I'll go... I don't know if this is a dark horse because I feel like we see him coming a little bit, but maybe somebody like Darren Till.
Okay.
I think he could sneak in there and rearrange that title picture a little bit.
I'm gonna burst y'all's bubbles with this one. Now again, this is not leading contenders. This is dark horse, but he is ranked number 3. Colby Covington.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm not guaranteeing it, nor am I predicting it. I'm merely saying if we're talking about dark horses, you can't. You may hate it, you may like it. I don't know if you can rule that out. That seems pretty fair, right?
Dark horse, not.
I would not be surprised if he gets a title shot. I just don't think he'll.
Right.
I don't think he'll beat any of the guys that are up.
It's a better dark horse candidate than Valentina Shevchenko. She's like a shoo-in.
She's going to win the title fight.
Dude, she's a complete shoo-in. What else we got?
She's a light horse.
All right. Again, this hashtag is killing me. What is in store for Jon Jones? Oh, good question. Jon Jones in 2018. Is there hope for a comeback or forget and move on? By the way, great job to the A-team and all the crew who contributed in 2017. Hashtag happy holidays from some dog's name I cannot read.
Now, I just want to clarify which Jon Jones are we talking about? Are we talking about the graphic designer or the former fighter?
I'm going to assume the former fighter, well, the fighter, whatever you want to call him. Yes. Jeff, you want to take this one?
Boy, I think that he'll be somehow back into the game by the end of the year. I mean, I know that there's...
Will he fight in 2018?
Yeah, that's the question.
That's the big one, right?
I'll say no, but I'll say that will be, you know, there'll be a lead up to something that'll be...
There'll be motion.
I think a year from now, the wheels will be in motion, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be pleasantly surprised, I guess, if we end up seeing him in 2018. I think that's another thing, too. That's a lot of complication as soon as he gets through this process, and we'll see what happens. But that's a hard one, man. I would say that I would be pleasantly surprised, I guess, if he turns up in 2018.
I don't really know what to make of it either because, you know, what would you say? I've tried to contact Howard Jacobs, his anti-doping attorney, who not only represents him, represents all kinds of athletes who have had issues with anti-doping regulators. And they're like, call us in 2 weeks. And then you call 2 weeks later, call us in 2 weeks. Like, there's a certain...
Is it Scott Coker?
Yeah, it's like, I know, it's like, we'll see how it goes. But like, there's a certain amount of silence that you're like, I don't get a good vibe from that. But at the same time, you just look at it and you say, okay, it's not a great situation by any stretch of imagination. Do I really think they're going to ban him 4 years? I just don't buy that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't buy that. I could be completely wrong about it, but I've got a hunch that 4 years feels like, if it was Colby Covington, they'd probably do it 4 years. But look, and no one wants to admit this, but anti-doping authorities, and I know this would be an arbitration panel, which would create a degree of separation, but that nuclear option, that seems extreme to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he fights in 2018, but here's what I think I can say. I don't think we've seen the last of him in the octagon.
Yeah,
that feel fair to you?
I agree with that.
He is a chatty Cathy at those press conferences. I found that out the hard way.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, we'll see. All right. Who do you think Nate Diaz needs to fight next? I'll go to you on this one, Chuck. Will we ever see Nick again?
Needs to fight? I would say...
Yeah, who do you think he needs to fight?
Man, I mean... I guess I would say Conor McGregor. What would be the... Who else
I know.
It's like, it's sort of like, he's at that weird spot. He's fought so many guys. I don't know what he's going to prove otherwise. Right. He's not really a guy who cares about the rankings. I don't know if he cares about... His value system has all changed over the course of time. I would say that Conor McGregor is like his one big fight out there, so I guess that would be... I don't know if that's a need or a want. I don't know how you...
Who would you like to see him fight besides McGregor? How about that?
And at this point, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, he's so far out of the conversation. I used to always love the idea of guys like him and Matt Brown and these but I honestly don't really consider it. Since we went off on this series of the Conor McGregor thing, it's just like, I've been thinking about the resolution, I guess, to an extent, only because it's brought up a lot of the trilogy. But beyond that, just given the way he talks and, where he's at in his life, not really anybody. It's not like I'm pining to see him fight regular guys or other guys who are in the top 5. You know what I mean at this point?
This is a serious question. Do you have Nate Diaz fatigue, even though he hasn't been
Not
around?
really. I just think that whenever you do hear from him, what he's saying is a little bit infectious, and I take it, I guess, somewhat literally that he doesn't really care, so why should I? He doesn't really care about what's going on, so I'm like, if he wants to come back and generate that excitement again, that's all good, but the trilogy fight is the only one that I see that sort of seems like it has to happen at some point. You know what I mean? So I guess I'd go with that. As far as Nick Diaz, I have no clue, man. Like, I would have said last year at this time, I would have said yes. But now that we've gone on another year, and I just don't feel like he's really...
And not even gotten close.
Yeah, not even gotten close. And I'm pretty sure he's out there doing his recreational fun things, and having a good time. And I don't think he cares,
Yeah. That should be for. Yeah, I kind of agree that it's got to be a money fight. I mean, he's made it very clear that he's not coming back just to compete or to. I don't think a title fight matters to him. I mean, that whole thing that was going around about him and Woodley, I don't think that would have been a big deal for him. He wants a money fight. The McGregor, trilogy fight would be that case. Now, what else would rise? Nothing else is going to rise to that level, but what else is going to rise to 60% or 70% of that level? I'm not quite sure there is a fight that rises that close to it.
I would be intrigued, though, just to see if they put him against Tony Ferguson or they put him against somebody, just to see how big he is on his own without Conor McGregor, because wasn't this the debate coming in? He was always like, he got that fight basically by calling him out on national TV and being ready when Dos Anjos went down and all this stuff. But if you remember, going before all that stuff, I don't feel like he wasn't the main event on the card. He was calling him out. He was like the third fight from the main event. You know what I mean? So it'd be really interesting to see if he's fighting somebody else, just how big of a star he really is at this point. You know what I mean? Without Conor McGregor, the attachment. Just where's he at? Is he as big as they think? He thinks, or is it more like he's still like Nate Diaz? You know what I mean? For the Nate Diaz that we knew beforehand.
Yeah, I've been talking about that all week. It's like Nate Diaz. Did you hear the podcast he was on? He was on.
I read some quotes from it. Yeah.
He was on some podcast with some dude. I guess he knows from Stockton who has a podcast.
So Nate Diaz.
I know. It's like I've been working for 10 years to get like these kinds of interviews, and I'm not even sniffing distance.
Well, that's because you don't have like a bunch of guys rolling joints in the background of the.
Sad part is I do actually. Doesn't matter anyway. But he did make some good points where I thought in the interview he was basically arguing. Look, Nate Diaz was like, "Oh, I've been bringing in numbers, and they just didn't care." There's a debate to be had about that, like to what extent he was. But it is pretty clear to me he was right that he was underpromoted, and I understand that the Conor McGregor fight was such a catalyst for change that's also something if not the most important one. But I don't know how you can argue Nate Diaz was was properly promoted when he was fined for not adhering to the UFC code of conduct. Like that's a thing anymore. Right. I think that the lesson there is, how big is he on? Well, he's not Conor McGregor big. I wouldn't bet on that, but I would definitely bet he feels a lot bigger.
I would like to see it. I would really like to see it. Like that would be the biggest intrigue. Forget about who it is. It would just be like if Nate Diaz is in a fight and he's going to, let's say, headline. I don't know, what would he headline? Would he headline a pay-per-view? Or
yeah.
So let's say that he's doing that, but it's not Conor McGregor. I would just like to see to what extent national media and the types of attention that the McGregor series is getting, how much of that exists just for him.
Make a high-profile fight, but don't make it a title fight. Does not warrant a title shot.
Fair enough.
So
I don't need that. To your point, and this is all anecdotal, but anecdotal is like the best evidence we have in MMA sometimes. A buddy of mine who was a producer for a very successful morning show in D.C., he every time texts me like whenever Nate Diaz is in the news, hey man, is he coming back? Is Nate coming back? Like there's actually real like that. He doesn't do that for anybody but him, Conor, and maybe like Brock Lesnar or something. I'm not saying he's that big, but
name?
Huh?
Who's the radio guy?
Brett. I don't want to say his last name.
Okay.
His name is Brett.
I knew who it was.
Anyway, so there's that. So the fight that I need to see from them. Y'all are going to laugh at this idea, but I'm thinking outside the box here. All right, ready? Diaz versus Diaz. Oh, snap. I just
What?
blew your mind. Brother versus brother. That would be unbelievable. You're going to say it's impossible to happen. Yes, of course. I'm well aware that would never in a million years happen. But I'm just saying, if it did, it'd be better than that stupid movie. What was that dumb movie that came out? What was about the two brothers fighting each other? Warrior?
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody said, like, man, Warrior's a good movie. Look at me. It's not a good movie, okay? It's at best an okay movie.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, because it wasn't some absolute clown show, everyone thought it was a good movie. It was kind of just okay.
Those guys run too deep, man. They would never do that.
I know, but can you imagine? Can you imagine?
I can't, but I mean, honestly, like that would be pretty mind blowing to see them in a press conference going at each other.
Yeah,
How weird
just
would that
having
be?
it. Look, here's what I will say. It is an inevitability that a sister is going to fight a sister or a brother is going to fight a brother. It will be exceedingly rare in MMA and even rarer.
We have that
Phoenix
with
Jones. Phoenix Jones fought his
Right, exactly.
yeah.
But I mean, for the UFC, it's going to be exceedingly rare for that to happen, but it will happen.
Yeah.
And that was devastating for the relationship.
It's really weird, even like when you're looking at somebody like Dillashaw fighting Garbrandt. These are not actual brothers, but they were training partners to the point where they know each other intimately. And anytime you get that sort of combative, you add combat to that and you put them together, it always makes for a very almost uncomfortable
it's toxic.
situation. Yeah, it's
Very
like it gets
toxic.
uncomfortable because it's so personal.
Yeah.
Those are interesting fights.
So we'll see. But by the way, I mean, you can never guarantee, but if I had to bet, is Nick Diaz coming back? I would not put a bet on that.
I'd love to see both of them. I'd love to see them both back, but
All right, here we go.
Diaz Bisbing.
Someone tags me twice for reasons that remain unclear. All right, if you could pick one song, I love this question, to replace Face the Effing Pain with, what would it be? Okay, MFers. This is, I cannot believe how much Stockholm Syndrome MMA fans have with this. Well, I can't even think of a song that could replace the great Face the Pain. Are you kidding me? You can do a game with Face the Pain where someone can name a musical artist and you would struggle to think of a song in their catalog that wouldn't be a better choice. How easy is this? Pantera. Vulgar Display of Power. I can pick 6 songs from that album easy that would be better. How about Mouth for War, Effing Hostile, A New Level, Walk. That's just one album. You could do Cowboys from Hell if you want to do that too. You could do Broken Hands from Lamb of God. You could do Embers. You could do Redneck. You could do, I mean, I can go on and on. Even if you want to do a more conventional choice, you know this, if you go to any kind of football game or what, mostly football games, but you go to sporting events, and I'm dating myself here, but this is true. When they play House of Pains, Jump Around, what does everybody do? They get up off their seat. They already have a relationship with Everlast. You could do Battery by Metallica. The list is truly, you could do Billy Joel. You could do Simon and Garfunkel. You could do me making fart noises with my armpit, and it would be a dial session with focus group. They'd be like, yeah, this sounds way better. This is the coolest song we've ever heard. This notion that Face the Pain is some sort of like event horizon inevitability that I just can't think of a song better than Face the Pain. I can't think of a song not better than Face the Pain. How is this a freaking debate?
This is a slow clap.
Jesus Christ.
all right, let's go, Chuck. Let's get out of here.
I mean, this is so easy.
Why not just Hank Williams Jr. up there saying, "Are you ready for some cage fight?"
Yeah. You could do a little Carrie Underwood. I would honestly take Carrie Underwood.
Would it count if we go with the extended dance mix of Face the Pain? Would that be a whole nother song?
Well, see, if you're just going to stick to Face the Pain, then I don't feel you're just going in circles, you know?
I am a big fan of Onomatopoeia, which is not a song. It is
Bing, bang, boom.
It is actually, I'm thinking Tutti Frutti because, Wop Wop Lamp Bam Boom is the sound of a MMA fight, all the punching and stuff. So I'll go with Little Richard.
The Adam West, old Batman thing.
You could go The Saw is the Law, Whitechapel. You could do Santana's Town, Dipset. I can do this all day long. This is the easiest question in the world.
I like Face the Pain, man. I think
Get out! Get out now!
change a thing.
Who are you?
If anything, I would just maybe update it a little bit. Then they try that at one point, then they add some.
Exactly. There's nothing better. Well, no, so the people in watching TV get Face the Pain. The people who are in the arena get
Bubba
the hook.
O'Reilly. Yeah.
So
True.
Yes.
So you pay $60.
I'd take that too.
All you get is pay $60. You get Face the Pain. You pay hundreds of dollars to be in the arena, and then you get the who. So I'm thinking maybe they've got to find, they just jack up the price of pay-per-view and then just go with Baba O'Reilly.
Octopus's Garden. You could do that one too. This is not a very difficult.
Bolero.
Look at Ringo go. You wouldn't want to hear Ringo jamming up there in Octopus's Garden? Of course you would. I cannot believe people are like
Psycho Killer.
Psycho Killer. Are you kidding me? Talking Heads? Yes, absolutely.
Lust for Life.
Yes. Do you see how easy this is? What are we doing? What are we doing? Life your knife into flesh, after life is to death, pulling and punching the rest of duration. No one can piss on this determination. That's not better than face the pain?
It's time to end the suffering, man.
Come on. Come on. Next one. Okay, worst Christmas present ever received. How about the ones that don't exist? Oh my God. Remember that bike you got? Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the worst Christmas gift y'all ever received?
Man, I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
No, really?
Off the top of my head, no. I mean, it used to matter more. I mean, obviously when you're a kid or something like that, but it would always be something where somebody made you something like a sweater. Or
you sound like you got one. Start us off.
Well, it's not that I got one. It was that my parents were split up. And so I had a single mom. So, and I have to be grateful for anything you get, obviously. But I had a single mom, and so, she was limited in what she can get. Now, my dad was doing okay for himself and wanted to do nice things, but what he would do is he would be like, okay, son, for today's Christmas, I got you and your brother a Nintendo. And you think, wow, man, that's a great thing. Except he would do that when the Nintendo would go on bargain sale because the Super Nintendo came out.
Right.
You'd be like, man, you couldn't spring for like 50 more bucks for the Super Nintendo? You cheap bastard. So, and this would happen every Christmas. It's like, the new Reebok pumps are out, and instead we got you British Knights Dimacels.
You're always getting them a Christmas too late. You should have had the Christmas previous, is what you're saying.
Basically,
whatever gift you're getting.
He was a minimum a year behind.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe 2 in certain cases.
I feel gratitude for every little tiny gift.
You know what?
I've ever
Here's what we
received.
should have done. I need to ask your kids what they never got.
Yeah, well, I think that's actually more relevant because I can't think back to when I was little what I got. That would have been something when I was a kid, I'm sure. Now I get I'll get a sweater or I'll get something maybe in a color that I don't love, but that's not a big deal. You can always return it. So, but when you're a kid,
when he was a kid, he got a Daguerreo type camera. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the first camera made. I don't know.
I've definitely gotten stuff I just chucked in the garbage.
No, there's been for sure. It's just hard to think of one thing that. I mean, there's always.
You didn't get for example, you didn't get anything dumb at like an office party or anything like that. But our jobs are so weird.
I once was given a one of those plaques with the fish that sings like "Take Me to the River."
Oh, the bass that you hang up on the wall.
I had that, and I was like,
I gave you that.
Yeah, I got that, and then I regifted it, but I really regret regifting it because now I would really appreciate it. I would love to have it on my wall.
I did get bubble bath once. I will say that bubble bath.
You got bubble bath once? Yeah.
And that became like a joke in the family to send bubble bath, so it would be repackaged and.
Yeah, that's not very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. My dad was he get me nice things. I mean, I can't hate, but it was always like, Jesus, Dad. I mean, what are we doing? All right, anything else? Here we go. True or false? Oh, yes. I'm about to tear into y'all. The Last Jedi was a huge disappointment and a major letdown after Force Awakens. Only interesting storyline was Kylo Ren. Adam Driver did a really good job, IMO, in my opinion. Have you boys seen Star Wars? No, you've not seen it. All right, so please don't give any spoilers away.
Okay.
Don't be like Colby Covington. By the way, I know this pissed off everyone when Colby Covington. Oh, we have to go? All right. No? Yes? No? Okay. All right. He's like doing this thing over here. I'm like, what are you doing?
He doesn't want you talking bad about Star Wars.
Yeah, he's like, stop talking about
No spoilers.
Very quickly, did you guys see he tweeted the Star Wars thing and then he pinned it to the top of his profile?
Yeah. I didn't see it, but I heard people talking about that.
I mean, it's a completely inconsiderate thing to do, also hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. So you saw Star Wars.
I did see it.
Did you like it?
I did like it. I liked it, but I mean, this is complicated because so I remember when the first movies were out, and you're still relating to yourself as a kid, and it's hard to put context to 77 through 83. It's like the times are different, movies are different the way they come out. So if you try to strip away, honestly, like and connect it just to that. Like I enjoyed it on that. The Empire Strike, the kind of homage to some of the things going on in The Empire Strikes Back, the homage, like kind of all that sort of thing. The story, some of the storylines. But I did find a lot of follies in it as well, like some things that you don't really quite understand why they were going on without saying too much. But the bottom line is, on whole, I enjoyed it. Did
not see it, but I'm learning to not judge. Like it's kind of reflexive to say, oh, I'm not into that stupid stuff. But I feel like whatever floats your boat. If you like that kind of stuff, go for it. But it's not really something that I'm interested in, so I kind of have shut down on it.
Well, I'm Chewbacca's #1 fan right here. That's me. It's probably the second or third best Star Wars movie ever made. It is not The Empire Strikes Back, not by a long shot. But basically, here's the
You did see it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Here's the reality of The Last Jedi. We asked, you can't believe I'm saying that?
Well, I just wouldn't imagine you would have went.
Are you kidding? All
right.
Dude, I had Ann Hornaday from the Washington Post on my show. Like, I love Star Wars. I went to a Star Wars bar. Have you ever been to a Star Wars bar? Because I have. How about that? It's called Welcome to the Dark Side. It was awesome. Basically, I can't believe the dorks and losers who don't like this movie. Their basic problem with it is that they're like, I can't believe Chewbacca doesn't have more of a speaking role. It's like, well, I don't think you understand necessarily his appeal. But their major objection is it's a fairly okay objection to have. If you've seen all the Star Wars movies without giving it away, this one is a dramatic pivot away from that. That's a fair way to put it. And either you're okay with that pivot or you're not okay with that pivot. And there are problems with the movie. It's too long. And there are some loose ends that I can't quite tell if they're just bad writing or it'll pick up in the next one. I don't really know. However, all of the objections about the pivot are about the pivot. It's not about whether it's a good movie, which is an entirely separate criticism that they all fail to make every single time. If you want to say it's a bad movie, tell me why it's a bad movie. What you're upset about is that they made a pivot. And that's a fine debate to have. But I'm sorry, under any reasonable rubric, that is a very good movie. And in my judgment, I love the pivot. I love the surprise. I love what they did. And I think it's no Empire Strikes Back, but it's pretty good.
Ultimately, you're right. And, you cannot plead at this stage of the game, given all the context of everything that's happened in Star Wars and all the different time periods in which these things have come out, it's impossible to keep everybody happy. Not with the kind of love and cultural, just entwining that it goes on with Star Wars and people. You cannot keep everybody happy. So I thought, in terms of that, if you're looking at it from that angle, they did it was a really good movie in that sense, because I agree with you. They had to do something in the pivot. The getting out, kind of changing it a little bit was a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it, but I think just the idea of having these franchises of movies, if you just rely on nostalgia, then
it gets
why bother?
Yeah,
why bother? But why not?
Well, the first
why not take another?
That,
why not take another step to do something different? So I mean, it's not something I have seen or would want to say. 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri is the name of a film that just came out, and I would highly recommend going to see it.
What's it called again?
3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. It's a Francis McDormand, very Coen Brothers-esque film, and very limited release. It took me a while to find it around, but it was worthwhile.
So he gave us the very opposite of Star Wars.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
He's like, Ken Burns' documentary on Vietnam.
It is it's worth seeing.
Yeah.
It's worth seeing.
Is there anything else? We done? Okay, that is it. Well, let me just say this. Thank you again. We said on MMA Beat, let me just say for after the MMA Beat, it has been an unbelievably fun year. I know it was a crazy year in mixed martial arts, but we really appreciate you guys doing this. Before 2017, we weren't even doing After the Beat. Look at what we're doing now. So this has been really kind of cool and very fun. We're very appreciative of what you guys have been able to do in joining us with this journey. So thank you very much. Thank you to the crew in the back. Thank you to Vox Media for another year that we could do this. I'm sorry that Ariel couldn't be here for the last show, but he will be here for the first one in 2018. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. We have to get out of here. For Chuck, for Jeff, I am Luke. Happy holidays, everyone. Be safe. Hands up, chin down, let them fly. This is the MMA Beat.